What's up, everybody? Brett here, super stoked today to be bringing you some pretty late information. This is not an informational video. All the stuff that was out yesterday, you guys have probably already picked through and seen. This is just for you guys to hang out with me for a second while I review the new stuff that was dropped yesterday in the Warhammer Skulls event. I think it used to be Skulls for the Skull Throne, but basically it's just a cool excuse for I guess it's SEGA. SEGA, CA, whoever, for the company to just give people a bunch of discounts and deals and hype all their different projects, their Warhammer themed projects, throughout all of digital media. But the ones that we care about the most, the ones that I care about the most, are definitely the Total War news that we got. We got Total War Warhammer 2 DLC announced, The Silence and the Fury. Guys, I am so stoked. I've been a big fan of these two characters for Legendary Lords for a long time. So we're going to go through them. We're going to play the trailer. We'll watch it together. I'll probably talk over it since you guys have seen, no doubt have seen it already. And we've got some pictures to look at, some things maybe to kind of glean. God damn it. I love this. I want to talk about how lizards can't use blowpipes because they don't have lips. You literally have to have lips in order to use that. But guys, this DLC is going to be coming out July 14th. So that's not too far from now. Today's June 4th. So hopefully your boy gets some early access. I have heard back from the CA's team. They said they would consider giving me access again. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But if I get some early access, I'll be able to play some of this for y'all, which I would be super stoked to do. We're going to look at this. Then we're going to go over to the Warhammer 3, Total Warhammer 3 content, and see the new Khorne trailer that dropped and kind of analyze that a little bit. Big news, big things popping for the Warhammer world. So without any further ado here... Yeah, and then we can also read about the content, so that's good. So I don't have to speculate as much as maybe I otherwise might. Let's go ahead and full screen this bad boy. Oop, need sound. There we go. There we go. Autoplay on Steam sometimes makes me deaf, so I definitely usually turn that down. Oxalo looking awesome. And there's Taurus. Torox the Brass Bull. And some unique skinks. Chameleon skinks that are with them. They're showing them in like all the different promo stuff. They're red with like feathers. Perhaps a new Regiment of Renown. And there you can see, if you look close, you can see Torox's neck where his only vulnerable spot is. It's got like it almost looks like a volcanic type of like glowing red line across his throat. The Silence and the Fury. I just realized this is like one of the only trailers I've seen where no one's talking. No one was talking. The Silence and the Fury. The artwork is pretty sick. Torox looks awesome. If you don't know, he's a Doom Bull, which is like the third tier of Minotaur that there is for the Beastmen. He's enormous. Let's go ahead and exit out of here. We can talk a little bit about the lore. I don't know how much lore they're going to get into here, but we should definitely look at these photos real quick. His model looks awesome. Using these two dual axes. He's basically like he's like a Minotaur that got recognized by Khorne for being a real badass. And then Khorne sent him like an emissary to come and be like, hey man, you know, you want to join my cause? And then he bit the head off the emissary and went on a rampage, like a cocaine-fueled rampage. And for a year, I guess, something like that, he was terrorizing the Empire States. And after that, Khorne was like, all right, dude, all right, I see you. Gave him an entire body full of brass, but because he spurned his first offer, he gave him one weakness. Very like Achilles-like. Like if you know the story of Achilles, how he was dipped in the river Styx by his mom. His mom was holding him by the heel, dipped him in, pulled him out, but that little spot where she was holding him is the part where he was able to be shot at. That's kind of like his deal too. I'm expecting him to have like super armor, maybe like low melee defense, in order to kind of like signify like, hey, he's super armored, but he does have one weakness. I know that in the lore, God, I hate the end times lore that they did for pretty much every character sucks. But it is fitting. I think he was killed by the Hunts Marshal, who's already in the game, Marcus Wolfhart. It makes sense that a sniper would be able to take out a dude whose only weakness is in his neck. Makes sense. But these are the chameleon skinks I was talking about. Look at these guys. They look awesome. I have to imagine they're a regiment of renown. I've been kind of scanning this picture here to see if perhaps these are other regiments of renown or new things for the Beastmen. Like these units here, the Beastmen don't have like halberd variant Bestigors. So they do, but they're regiments of renown, and I don't think that these guys are it. Those guys have like a green color scheme, and these guys don't. So I'm wondering if the Bestigors are getting like an anti-large variant, which would be interesting. They look like halberds. They could be great weapons, but I don't think that's necessary because the Bestigors are already AP dudes. So I think maybe this is just letting you know, and I don't know if anyone's talked about this yet. I've kind of briefly scanned a few people's videos just to see what their thoughts were yesterday when I didn't have time to make my own video myself. There's also something in the background here. I can't quite tell what the hell is going on, but I don't know. There might be some additional information to be gleaned there. There's also, you get a good look at his model. I think this is called like Tui. Like the lizardmen have so many funny names that are just like onomatopoeia. And I think that's what the name of this like famous blowpipe is. If you don't know anything about Oxado, I talked about Torox's lore for a second. He was there at original like Temple City when they were invaded by demons like thousands of years ago, and he got like sucked into the warp, or basically just like the Chaos Realms, and he managed to survive. He's a chameleon skink after all. He went like full blown Rambo and started like special forces murking dudes. You know, you can imagine if anyone's gonna survive there, it's gonna be like an immortal lizardman dude who's like ability to go invisible and take people out from range. So that's what he did for like the equivalent of, it's confusing. Like, was he there for thousands of years? And I think he was in the real world there for thousands of years, but time in the chaos realms passes in ways that are meaningless. So I think in reality he may have been there for years. Who knows? But either way, he came out on the other side after killing probably more demons than almost any other character in Warhammer lore. So he's an absolute badass. Don't let his stature fool you. I'm excited to see how he plays and what his unique abilities are. All right, that's a lot of exposition from me, but of course I've already pre-purchased this. I was kind of hoping to get it for free as part of getting early access. That would just be nice. But in the meantime, I will pay. I will happily pay for all Total War Warhammer content. So let's read what they say about this content. This Lords Pack for Total War Warhammer 2 introduces 2 new legendary lords for the Lizardmen and Beastmen. Each leads their own faction and features new characters, units, unique gameplay mechanics, and narrative objectives. I'm hoping they tell us what the start positions are, or at least give us a good hint. Formed of living bronze, the rage-filled Doombull Torox is nigh on invincible, save for one area on his gargantuan neck. The Chaos Gods whispered to him of a ritual that can eliminate this weakness, but the promises of the ruinous powers are seldom what they seem. Why don't you just wear like a collar? Just get you like, what do they call that in like medieval armor? The collar piece. I know some of you guys out there are like super armor nerds. I am as well, but I don't remember what there's a specific piece that they would like strap around their neck and like lock up, and it was just to keep them from like getting beheaded. Like, why don't you just put one of those on, man? Like literally, like the Chaos Gods didn't invent metal. Like you can probably find someone to make something for you. Okay, anyway, like I just hit me. I was like, you have one weak spot and you can't just like strap some metal to it? All right. Meanwhile, Oxodal, it sounds like some sort of like pill you take to go to sleep at night. The revered chameleon skink and master of stealth senses the machinations of chaos and rallies his cohorts. Torox must be stopped at all cost, lest a new tide of chaos sweeps the world. When the silence meets the fury in a final confrontation, who will prevail? Okay. I mean, they're giving like an excuse for these characters to be doing things. I don't know if every well, I don't know. The thing is, they want certain characters to be in Total War Warhammer 2. Everything has to go into the Vortex campaign, so everyone kind of needs their own story-based campaign. And it's like, what does Torox really want? You know, what a hard thing to like to create. He's a rage bull. That's all he does. So I guess they came up with some kind of quest excuse for him to lead an army. I don't know. And Oxyotl feels like he probably has cooler things to do than just hunt this one dude, but that's just me. So let's read what they say about Torox. After embarking on a bloody rampage through Talabeclan, Torox was rewarded by the dark gods with a body of brass, and still he thirsts for slaughter. As he wins battles, Torox gains momentum. I heard about this on Reddit, and his army can replenish action points to fight and fight again. The longer his kill streak continues, the greater the gifts bestowed upon him by the ruinous powers. He and his Beastmen hordes will ultimately need to locate the Heart of Darkness. I mean, they straight up ripped that from the great classic, where he will face Oxyado in a final decisive battle. So apparently, momentum is a like a unit. God, what's the term I'm looking for? It's like a faction perk or ability that they ripped straight from Lu Bu and Three Kingdoms. So, and I think it was the people in Reddit were saying it's even still called momentum. I didn't play Three Kingdoms all that much. I didn't enjoy it. It wasn't exactly what I was hoping for from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms vibe. I couldn't get behind it, but I was still interested in people's opinions and thoughts and just in how they developed it. And momentum is Lu Bu, a character who is a badass, martial badass who goes from army to army, victory to victory, and it allows him to it gives him action points, so you can keep going. And I will say, the top comment that I saw on Reddit was they should call it Momentum. I thought that was just like chef's kiss. That was the perfect Reddit comment. Momentum. That would have just, if they don't go back and change it to Momentum, I don't know. I'll leave some sort of bad comment somewhere on the internet. Okay. But very cool. I mean, that's a unique thing. I mean, it's so hard at this point because the Beastmen are still hordes, and you got to keep coming up with new things for each faction. And they've had some swings and misses recently. I mean, I hate the Nakai campaign. I loved Nakai since I first read his lore a long time ago, and I was always hoping he would get in the game. I was super hyped for his release. I go to play as him. I play for like a half hour, and I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. I was so disinterested in the campaign at that point that like it ruined it for me. And I'm hoping Torox kind of breaks the mold there and doesn't suck. And then Lizardman Oxyado, a chameleon skink of high renown, Oxyado has a long history of fighting and succeeding against the otherworldly forces of chaos. His prescience enables him to detect where the forces of chaos will strike next, and utilizing the network of lost secret sanctums across the world only he can capture and develop, Oxyado can choose which threats to tackle and reap the rewards of victory. So he can teleport across the world. They're giving like a lore reason why he can do this, but basically I think the idea is just that one of the problems that these campaigns have in the Total War games is that the map is so big and you can't put every faction everywhere. And for the sake of fighting different factions and getting like a little bit of battle diversity, it's useful to come up with some reason why your armies can teleport across the world and fight, lots of different types of enemies, so that, you're not playing like an Empire campaign where you're basically fighting against other Empire for the first 100 turns, right? They've gone back and changed it. So now you get a chance to fight orcs. There's greenskins everywhere, of course. There's, you get a chance to fight more vampires. There's more things going on there. They've kind of been retrofitting that over the last really few years, making it so that every campaign is interesting, and I think that's what they're trying to do with him. Let's see. Oxyado can instantly travel between his capital, his unique mission areas, and any secret sanctums he has rediscovered. Ultimately, he must travel to the Heart of Darkness and face the hordes of Torox in a final desperate battle. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, sounds pretty fun. I will say this. I'm a kind of a fan of Italian Spartacus. He's a guy who I've been watching since him and Turin first made their channels. And I just think those two dudes in particular have great attitudes when it comes to community and stuff. And they love Warhammer as much as I do. I would say more even. I know Italian Spartacus has been rolling with the miniatures for a long time. But he noticed, and I don't know if he was the OG noticer of said thing. I don't know where exactly it is. Maybe around, hold on, I'm going to try and pause and then enlarge. Here. If you look right here, and I know that's like on you guys' screen, it's so insignificant. Either he or someone else, and I thought he said in his video that he did it. He zoomed in, I think said 300 times or something. And you can see here a flying, it kind of looks purple, right? It is I think they call it just a Codal. Or, yeah. So, in Aztec mythology, they have a god who's kind of like a winged serpent, a feathered winged serpent god type creature, Quetzalcoatl. In Lizardmen lore, Warhammer Adaptive lore, which is always cool to me because it does take real life stuff and makes it interesting. But they have like this rare sentient magic. They just call it a Codal, I think. And it's something that I don't know. I didn't expect. The Lizardmen roster is so fully flushed out. It was hard for me to imagine that there were still more giant creatures left for them to shoehorn into the game, but yet they have. And it's a flying unit, a single entity flying unit that may be able to use some magic, kind of a la the Arcane Phoenix of the High Elves. But yeah, there it is. Like he zoomed in and you can see it clear as day, looking pretty badass as it flies over. What a great, like, incredible catch. Whoever really truly was the first person to see that. Good eye. But that's something to be hyped about. So, you know, we kind of mentioned what there might be in the background here. People have been hoping for Jabberslice for the Beastmen. The big kind of horror monsters that kind of shamble around and drive men mad whenever they look at them. The old joke about how many Charlemagnes it would take to develop just that single entity and its skeleton and all that stuff, which is very expensive, and why we would probably never see that unit in the game. Hopefully, maybe they've shelled out a couple Charlemagnes and they've made that. The Praeton would be a cool kind of counter to the Codal, I think. It's like think like an evil griffin, kinda, who lives in the deep forest and hates life. That could be a cool like single entity flying option for the Beastmen. What else? What other things? The Gorgon. Boom, there, right there. That's I think I'm remembering his name correctly. Basically, think the like a Cygor who has 4 arms, 2 of which are giant scythes, and instead of throwing boulders, they just run at you and mutilate you. That's what we're talking about. Those are the big hitters that I could see for the Beastmen. And then I think people were also talking about the potential for Beastmen, especially the Bestigors, and even the Minotaurs, which we have seen, and kind of jumping ahead a little bit here, but they should have some options to bring in Bestigors and Minotaurs who are marked by the different Chaos Gods, and in that way get some variation to their roster. I don't know what maybe lower tier stuff they might be able to add, but that's on the table for now. And I can safely, it's not even speculation, it's all but confirmed, the different marks for the Beastmen, but I don't know if they're on the Beastmen roster because all we've seen them on so far, and let's go to, you can see all my games here. If we go to the store page for Total Warhammer 3, let's go ahead and pause that up. We have seen that they have, man, I don't even know. I don't think that picture is here. I don't know where that picture came from, but I think Milk and Cookies was showing it. It was some sort of, maybe not like a leak, but like they showed Minotaurs who are marked by Khorne on the Khorne roster, which is sick. In this picture here, which I think is kind of a newer picture, it's like a straight up like screen grab of Scarbrand, the new legendary lord. As you know, he was spoiled a few days earlier, but he is going to be the Khornate champion for Total War Warhammer 3 as we jump into a little bit of information about this. I'm less familiar with the demonic units. I've kind of been, passively taking in the information, just like I'm sure most of you guys are who haven't been steeped in, the individual unit model info for years and years. But there's a lot to see here. I mean, you've got these, see now I'm out of my depth. I'm out of my element, Donnie. But you see these guys, these like Harpy Fury dudes, they're different from the others. They have some effect going on in their wings. Maybe they're a regiment of renown. Maybe they're just a higher tier version of the others. You can see here we've got Gore Beast. If you know in the Chaos Undivided army roster, they have the Gore Beast chariots. These guys are sick. Think like if you took a silverback gorilla and you put him in armor, like just straight up let him run around and smash people. That's what they are. And you can see they have Khorne themed Chaos Spawn. there's a lot of stuff to see here, but there's also a video that I wanted to watch with you guys. I think that's probably about it for this. I don't think there are any other new pictures here for us to analyze. But they did also just drop the Khorne Fleshhounds trailer today, which is pretty sweet. It's just, you know, you get to watch them. It looks like they have a few sync kills, which are interesting. If I go to YouTube, which I can do, we can watch this here together. And I should. Let's see, can I... I'm not the most tech savvy dude in the world, but let me just play it and I'll talk about it. Kind of over it. Like I said, I'm sure you guys have seen this. Yeah, there we go. I just wanted to see if there was a convenient way to full screen it without going to my own YouTube channel. Jesus Christ. See, and that's YouTube making us deaf. So there we see either a hero or lord choice. I mean, he looks sick. There's the Chaos Spawn. The Fleshhounds.
For the blood god. Skulls for the skull throne.
I mean, he looks awesome. He grabs his axes and he jumps into the air. So if I remember right in the lore, Skarbrand, and I know a little bit about it, Skarbrand was like a champion of Khorne, and he kind of got a little too uppity and attacked Khorne himself. Khorne is like a mountain. He's like a giant brass mountain god. And he attacked him and made like a little dent in his armor, and then Khorne choked him out so hard that he lost his mind. And he threw him off the top of the tower of whatever. And he smashed down into the ground, lost his mind, and became kind of this mindless, rage-filled monstrosity. This that kind of just like perfectly embodies the mindless aspect of Khorne. Khorne also, for humans, is sort of like a god of honor and combat and like martial prowess. But in the realm of the demons, they kind of take it to the next level and they just go full bloodlust. But Skarbrand doesn't fly, if I remember right from the lore, because his wings were smashed when he got thrown from the height of the tower. But he's able to fly, and people are speculating pretty much that there is a lot to be said about his ability to take off and land, which might be a new mechanic available in the game. But guys, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. My name is Brett. Channel's Goodtalk Gaming, and as always, y'all, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.